Maximum Poetry 4043. All isn't lost, but it's going to be very tough, right? Because if your coach isn't on board or has no idea how to run a practice and he doesn't know how to create a formation, right? He can't arrange the cones set up in a way where he shows you what your attacking formation should look like and how your defensive formation should look like. That's not a good start. But there is hope, right? Because the 80-20 principle. 80-20 principle basically states that 20% of the team will score 80% of the goals. And there's like, it applies in other places too. It's like 20% of products in a store make up 80% of sales, or 20% of the world owns 80% of the wealth, right? So this distribution doesn't only come in relative to this conversation, but you could see it present in, it's like in a city, 20% of the 20% of the roads have 80% of the traffic, right? So you could see this Pareto principle, this 80-20 principle in many different places. So there's things that you could do on your own individual time, even starting with 60 seconds a day, that can really help elevate your own personal training routine. And this could actually spark, right? If your players see you getting to practice early and doing these certain things, then it may become contagious, right? They might start doing some of the things that you're doing if they see the captain, the leader, doing the things too. And before I get into that, I want to talk about some things on the field that you guys could try. Firstly, if you put a player who stands on the opposing goalkeeper during corner kicks and free kicks, if it's not in an offside position, if you put a player on the goalkeeper for a corner kick, why this is effective for scoring goals is because it stops them. It restricts the movement of the goalkeeper in the goal, so it makes it harder for them to pop out and catch the ball in the air if there's a player standing right in front of them blocking their view. It also could potentially draw a second defender, right? So if you stand on the goalkeeper and then another defender comes, that's also good, because now you have two people blocking the mobility of the goalkeeper, their movement and their vision. I've done this almost every single game, starting from the age of 6 or 7 up until right now. I still do this to this day, and I'm 34 years old. So that would be strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is, man, it's tough if you can't coach the team. In terms of defensive shape, right, and especially on goal kicks and free kicks, this is so important, because you're going to have balls that are being played in right on your goal. So, and that's why offensive corner kicks and offensive set pieces and defensive corner kicks and defensive set pieces are very important, because if you can't defend and if you can't convert goals, then you're gonna really have a hard time. Also, with offensive corner kicks, there's one trick play. It's not even a trick play, but it's a simple play that any team can execute at any level and have great results. At the start, right before the corner kick is played, you have all of your attackers stand on the line of the goal. And right before the corner kick is played, all the attacking players, they do a hard sprint, a few steps, right? They sprint towards the penalty spot, and then they sprint immediately in the opposite direction, right on goal. So you have like 8 to 9 to 10 players sprinting away from the goal and then crashing the goal at high speeds. So this is something that you could start to get a goal or two every single game if you have one player on the goalkeeper and then 6 or 7 players crashing it. It's a very hard corner kick play to stop. In terms of defending corner kicks, you want to have at least 2 players who are to the left or the right of your goalkeeper. In front of them, you want to stack 4 players. And in front of those 4 players, you want to stack 3 players. And then you want to have 1 player that can run short, 1 player that's 10 yards from the corner kick in case they do a short corner. if you set this defensive shape for a defensive corner kick, it's going to be hard for teams to score on you, because you'll find that during man marking, if you try and chase a player around, and they know that you're following them, they could bring you away from the goal, and then they just double back on goal. It's like, if they know you're following them, then you're going to be one step late to every one of their steps. So if you're already in the spot where the ball is going to be, you could take one step back and then just clear the ball if you're already in the place where the ball is going to be played at. That's why, all coaches don't see it this way, all players don't see it this way, but it's like I weigh barely 152 pounds, 53 pounds, and I am a nightmare to defend. It's like anyone who's quick, it's hard to defend them 1v1. So you got to think, you want to use your defensive shape to hedge against quick players who can lose a man mark very easily. So that's why I think this way of defending it is much more effective than man marking. Okay, now let's go into personal training routine. Firstly, if you take a deep breath, right? If you take a deep breath and your shoulders go up into the air, right? If your deep breath looks like this, then what you want to do is search Dr. Vranich, right? Her belly breathing technique. She basically says if you use your belly to breathe, it's going to use less energy than using your upper back and shoulders, like that. So if you go like this instead, she says it takes pressure off your lower back and spine. It massages your internal organs. And since it uses less energy than your upper back and shoulders, it's going to effortlessly improve your endurance and stamina on the field. And if you want to learn more, that's Dr. Vranich, Vranich, how to breathe. Okay, that's step one. And right, another reason why breathing is so important, they say, because of the rule of three. Three minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 weeks, give or take, without food or water, you'd be dead. Right, 3 minutes without air, you'd be dead. That's why breathing is the most important skill you can learn. Second thing is movement. Right, a lot of players, right, soccer players don't realize that, right, soccer players are humans first, soccer players second. So if you can improve the quality of your movement, then you're going to be more dangerous on the field. What I have here is an RMT rope by David Weck, W-E-C-K. And an RMT rope stands for rotational movement training. So it's a variation of a jump rope. Right? Most times with jump rope, you start from behind and you just jump through. With an RMT rope, you just swing it. You swing it from side to side. And what this is going to help do is bend and twist your spine. It's going to help strengthen your core. It's going to improve balance, timing, rhythm, and coordination. And why this is so important for soccer players is because the body's connected from fingers to toes. So as you swing this rope in circles, you're going to get a better understanding of where your body is in time and space. This means if you have better understanding and control of your own body, you're going to be more nimble on the field. You're going to be quicker. You're going to be more explosive. You're going to be balanced, which means you're going to be hard to get pushed off the ball. Your striking is going to improve, which means your passing and shooting is going to get better. You'll notice that your juggling is going to get better. Everything's going to improve because you're going to have a better control of your own body. And with a piece of rope that you can bring anywhere in the world for less than $10 at your local hardware store, it's like having a soccer gym in your pocket. Right? It turns you into an infinite player. You don't need a gym. You don't need to have a field, right, a pitch. You can swing this anywhere you are, and you could start to, right, you could start to feel tension in your body. If you're stressed, you can start to swing it and just breathe, relax, right? Feel where tension is your body. Go into different ranges of motion, right? If you have a pain or lingering injuries, you can start to develop this dialogue with this rope. You could put 1% pressure on your bad leg, 99% pressure on your good leg, and now you can start to feel how the pain feels as you put more and more pressure on it. And then if it's too painful, right, like pain goes up into 4 or 5, you just take a little bit off, but you're still moving and breathing. So it's effortless rehab just with a piece of rope. It can help teach you perfect running technique. The way you learn perfect running technique is called the alternating underhand sneak. You start with an underhand swing. Underhand swing starts as an opposite direction of a jump rope, right? Traditional jump rope starts from behind, goes forward. With the underhand swing, you go in the opposite direction, then you take your opposing hand, you reach around your back, you grab your elbow. From there, you reach down, grab your wrist, then you go double handles. Double handles goes now double behind the back. From here, you have to drill this. It took me 3 days to drill this, every spare moment I had. If you can only do this, this is going to improve your running technique. It's not going to feel normal. From here you go over, over, over. Right, one more time, let's do it with the left hand. Underhand swing with the left hand, right, the opposite direction of a traditional jump rope. Take your right hand, reach around the back. It's not going to feel normal. You're going to grab your elbow, maybe your forearm. Even if you can only get here, this is going to open up your chest. This is going to improve your running technique. So you're still going to get benefits if you can only do here. Then you slide it down, grab wrist. Then you grab double handles. Now double handles, double behind the backs. Right, I had to drill this 3 days straight, every moment I had. And then from here, right, it's double handles, over, over, over. And the reason why this teaches perfect running technique is because it forces you to whip your arms down and pop that knee up. Right? It develops this pop, pop, pop. Even if you can't learn, even if you're struggling with the alternating underhand sneak, even just swinging it between your left hand, pop, and your right hand, pop. It's just really going to teach you to spring that knee up, really work that. Right? It's developing this fast twitch, right? This fast twitch reflex in concurrently, right, at the same time with the smoothness of the hand switch, right? There's something that's being activated in your brain. I believe it's the cerebellum in things that require eye-hand coordination. So it's like brain training. It's effortless strength and movement just with a piece of rope that improves your running technique. So this is going to improve your juggling, right? Your ability to just pop the knee up and stay balanced is timeless. Okay, that's number 2, right? So if you're the captain of this team and you start training with one of these arm T ropes, right? You just order one online. Some of the ones online are very long, and people who order them don't realize that they're too long. You want to have it where, so you want to have it so that when you're swinging this in a circle, you could swing in a circle, and right, this one is almost too long for me, right? Because it's a little bit longer than I'm tall, but almost too long. So what I can do is, right, with a piece of rope, let's say a rope, but the rope is too long, you could just slide this down. We're here, and what I'm gonna do is spin the rope towards itself, and I'm just gonna wrap it in towards itself, right? Wrap it around towards the top loop, and this is gonna shorten the rope to make it so that it's easy for me to use. Boom, handle, pull it through, nice. Right, so I've just created a nice RMT rope handle. And now, see, even that shorter length makes a huge difference, because instead of it smacking the ground, now I have to actually tilt my body for it to, right, to make contact with it. But now I can stay upright and have this thing whistling. Nice. Okay, so 60 seconds a day of drilling an RMT rope before practice, you could start to, and other players on the team will see you using this. They start to get this in their hand. Now the quality of their movement is improving. So this is something that, a couple kids on the team start to buy into this rope flow. Their quality of movement is going to improve, and you're going to see your players quicker on the field. Okay, secondly, whatever. Okay, so this is an SKLZ solo kick trainer, right? SKLZ star solo kick trainer. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was, because I think this is one of the most powerful strength training tools, skills development tools and strength tools because it's strength through motion. Again, there's a theme here, and it's we're doing things that are going to immediately make you better on the soccer field. A lot of players, they do stuff outside of the field. They're doing strength training. They're doing quote unquote speed training, but when it comes to games, they're not feeling that improvement. This is something that you can stay super relaxed, breathing. This is something that you can do while you're inside the house, while you are watching games on TV, while you are, right, if you're taking a homework break, if you don't want to, right, if your parents yell at you, you're making a ruckus in the house. This is something that you can cram months of training into days or weeks because you could get 60 touches in 60 seconds in an effortless way, right? So again, it's balance, timing, rhythm, coordination, left foot, right foot, insides, outsides, laces, and it's just going to improve your striking technique, right? You're not going to be wondering where the ball's going to be when it leaves your foot. So for those reasons, this is something that can really improve the quality of your game and of your life, right? Especially if you're devoting a significant amount of time to playing soccer. I think this is, every youth player should have one of these in his hands. Wesley Snyder talks about using this growing up. Ajax, Sevilla, a lot of teams all over the world use this kick trainer. This is not a new concept, right? And you could make one yourself with a size 1 ball and a length of rope, as long as your hip bone maybe a little shorter than your ankle bone, right? So it's just, and the beauty is if you mishit it, it'll come right back around, so you can correct, right? You could self-correct the mishit, and so for that reason, it saves you a lot of time for going to chase a ball. You don't need a training partner. There's just so many reasons why this is a great training tool. It's like having a training partner who plays you the perfect pass every time, right? Nice and easy. And then lastly, it's bring a ball with you everywhere you go. Right? Bringing a ball with you everywhere you go, you can always be getting touches. More touches leads to more mistakes. More mistakes leads to more learning. So hopefully some of these ideas help. Reach out with any questions. All right, thanks.